Okay, I swear the minute I decide to actually shoot a video when all is quiet in my neighborhood, my neighbor down the street decides that he wants to power wash his driveway. No word of a lie. Hi everybody, my name is Denise and this is my channel Lab Fab, which is all to do about makeup and everything fun with makeup. So thanks so much for clicking on my thumbnail. I have something very exciting to tell you all. It's like super duper exciting. Okay, it's really not that exciting for all of you in the United States, but it's very exciting for me. So, you know how I have been like a major Sephora fan. Of course, makeup junkies, who isn't a Sephora fan? But let's be real, it's pretty pricey, right? Well, in my city in Canada, we've got a Morphe store. I am like over the moon. I am so excited because that means I have access to a whole bunch of other makeup lines, including the Jeffree Star and James Charles and the Jaclyn Hills of the world and all of those fabulous Morphe brush sets and all the other things that Morphe has, which really kind of helps to just bring down the price point, if you know what I mean. But anyways, I thought I would just talk about the Morphe brush set that I purchased. So I will try to insert a picture now. And then I will tell you that what I picked up was the Morphe had this for $34 Canadian. So, you know, for this, but it is the 12-piece where they have the dual fiber. They have the synthetic and the natural brush, and it's called, I've got my notes over here, it's called the Morphe 12-piece Eye-Credible brush set. So you get 12 incredible brushes, like I said, 6 synthetic and 6 natural fibers to kind of just basically line, shade, buff, blend, or smoke out any eye look. And, you know, I kind of thought my eye look was a little bit, my eye game was lacking, girls. And I needed to kind of step up my choices of eyeshadows and colors. So I think if you watched my last few videos, then I've certainly tried to link that up in the cards up above here. But I have gone kind of all away from like those lovely soft pinks and wearable shades that I wear at work to full on crazy, basically Crayola crayon nuts with the colors. But that's where I am with that, and I've been having tons of fun. So anyways, let's just get into this whole 12-piece Eye-Credible brush set from Morphe for $34 Canadian. So I'm going to start with my 6 synthetic brushes. First of all, they came in this fabulous, I think it's like a 9.5 by 5 inch faux leather zippered carrying case, which is really nice because obviously it's very slimlined, and it actually doesn't really look that cheap. It actually looks quite close up with the Morphe badge that in fact it looks like it's a leather carrying case and nobody would be the wiser. And then you have all your brushes that were individually wrapped, which is really also lovely. The only thing I will say about this set, and currently right now if you go to the Morphe Canada, you know, www.morphe.ca website, it's currently sold out. So I hope that means because price point and quality met in the middle, and it was a big, huge customer favorite. I don't know. I didn't ask anybody. I just started looking around, and I just thought, you know, for the amount of brushes that you get, I thought it would be a really nice, just kind of step into the Morphe pool with the baby toe and checking out whether, in fact, they were really good at all. So, you know, I don't go by what everything that any YouTuber says. I don't go by all what they say. You know, if it's a trusted friend, more than likely they're on point. But some of those bigger YouTubers, you know, they're a little sneaky with their whole, you know, opinions. Enough said. Anyways, I'm going to go through each brush for you. So this brush here that you'll see me holding up is one of the synthetic brushes. So all the dark fibered ones are the synthetic ones. This is quite dense, very round at the top, as you can see. Quite dense, and they call this the concealer brush. So I actually just used it because I don't know, I'll either use my ring finger or else I'll use a beauty blender or a dampened sponge to kind of get that very nice natural sort of skin-like texture, but I thought I'd give it a go today. It's an acquired thing using a brush for concealer, so I don't know that I will use it, but for that, but I did use it this morning. And I will say what I do like so far about these brushes, which you may or may not be able to appreciate, is just how thick the wood stock or handle is on them. And I kind of played with the sample that was on the shelf in the store, and just kind of really held it up to the light and kind of like just gently pulled at those fibers, because I'd heard mixed reviews about how their fibers all fall out. Granted, I've only used it the once, but there was no flying fibers anywhere. There was no loose fibers that were falling out, so they weren't trying to escape. So that was really nice. But that is number one, the concealer brush in the synthetic fiber. In the synthetic fibers. Like, I think I've said synthetic 10,000 times. Okay, the next one, I thought this was really cool, because this is kind of, those specialty brushes where you can take up your eye shadow look to the next level. And this one is actually called the Flat Liner Brush, for obvious reasons. Again, it is perfectly flat on top, cut nice and flat. Obviously, you can see that quite easily there against my hand. And yeah, it's a flat liner, so you can get in really, really tight with some of those nice colors to kind of frame the eye. So I'm looking forward to using that. Again, a nice substantial, feel to the actual wood handle. So very, very good. All right, and then the next one that you get in the synthetic in this set is the actual spoolie and angled, what do they call it? Spoolie and angled brow brush. But it could easily be a brow brush, or it could be an eyeliner. I would definitely say this one would have to be a brow brush, because it's not quite, cut at the angle I'd want to use for a liner, but definitely good for getting in the brows. And of course, the nice big spoolie end. It's kind of a more meatier version of the Anastasia spoolie angle brow brush that I have with my dip brow pomade. So really pretty happy about that. Okay, the next one here, they call this the pointed crease brush, for obvious reasons. Again, this is the synthetic fibers because it's the dark one. And yes, indeed, it has a very nice, not too chintzy though, with the actual fibers, a lovely, lovely pointed crease brush. So you could get in there and you could do some nice crease work, girl. So I'm pretty excited to use that. Again, just look at the thickness of the handles. I don't know. I just can't get over that. All right. And then the second last one of the synthetic, this is called the Detail Crease Brush. So that, in fact, it is a very detailed crease brush. I think that I would be very, very, see how tiny that is? I'd be very inclined to use that just for highlight in the inner corner right by the tear duct. That just fits in perfectly with my little squinty eyes. Yeah, but oh yeah, that would be really good. But you certainly could, or if you were doing kind of like an ombre shade look, you could kind of get in there and blend out a little if you were working in that little corner. But very, very cool detail crease brush. And then the very last synthetic brush is this one, which is the Detailed Liner Brush. So take that out of the package. Again, substantial. All the brushes say Morphe with the black handle and the silver ferrules. Unfortunately, they're not numbered. So I'm going to have to be yelling out which particular brush I'm using, because these ones are one of the few Morphe brushes that aren't actually numbered. But this one, and it has the protective sheath on it. So there you go. That is clearly a detail liner brush. So that would be good as well if you did a little spray with that, and then you could get some nice, dark eyeshadow. You could use that for your eyeliner. We all know the tricks. But anyways, pretty cool. So let's now go to the 6 brushes that are the natural fibers. These are pretty cool. So we have the first one here, which is really quite beautiful. And I must say, you certainly feel the actual difference with these natural as opposed to the synthetic. Obviously they feel more hair-like. big surprise. But they're just so soft, like they're really soft. But anyways, this one is called the Pointed Blender for obvious reasons. It has this lovely sort of tapered end to it right there, really getting in and just kind of, you know, blending out all kinds of stuff in the crease and the outer third area. A beautiful, beautiful brush. This is the Pointed Blender brush. All right, this one, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it because it's really, really big for an eyeshadow brush. Even though with my hooded lids, you know, when I squint, I've got quite a lot of real estate, excuse me, to work with from where the arch is. But I mean, look at the size of this. This is called the Large Shadow Fluff Brush, and it's also beautifully cut, just nicely tapered at the top, but just a little rounded, very, 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 very dense. Doesn't feel cheap at all, feels actually quite good. I would definitely say that you could get your base colors on and really just start layering colors and blending them out. That would be quite a beautiful brush. All right, and number 3 for the natural is this one called the Blender brush. So if there is a brush out there that is similar to my MAC 217, it would have to be this one by Morphe. Again, it is beautiful, and instead of it being kind of more tapered or rounded at the top, it kind of flares out just ever so slightly, as you can see. And again, it has beautiful density, super soft. That is going to be a great everyday, you know, sort of blender brush for sure. All right, the next one they have is what they call the Firm Blender. And that one is very similar to the one I just showed you, but in fact, it's just a little bit more firm and definitely more tapered at the top. So not sure that you can see that, but just a little bit longer, pinched a little bit tighter at the ferrule. Definitely the Firm Blending brush. And then we have the small chisel brush, they call this. So I don't know that I've seen anybody use this, a small chisel brush. So that's interesting. It's very, very short fibers, very soft, quite thin at the top, you know, have a nice pinch to them, and very rounded at the top. So this is the small chisel brush. So if you've seen anybody use the small chisel brush, yeah, I mean, maybe if you were doing a cut crease or something, it's nicely rounded. It certainly could get in there. So maybe it would be good for doing a cut crease, but interesting brush. And then finally, one of my favorites would be the small smudge brush. I just think, you know, you need a good small smudge brush when you're making those beautiful blended and smoky eye looks. But there you go. That is the 12 of the brushes, 6 synthetic and 6 natural. You know, tote bag for throwing into your handbag or throwing into your carry-on baggage if you're traveling. So that is really super handy. Okay, and it's not the end. I mean, that was the main reason I went into I was going to say Sephora, why I went into Morphe, but then I really needed a new beauty blender, and I was just going to go walk down at the other end, and I was going to go into Sephora to get my beauty blender, because of course Morphe doesn't carry beauty blenders, but they do carry their own. So this was basically the eye and the face beauty blenders of Morphe's. The whole kit was $16.99 Canadian, and I just kind of thought, okay, interesting that they have square bottoms. I like the red, so I was like, $16, not too expensive. Do not waste your money on these. If you want to save money and you want a decent blender that's going to blend in, you know, the bulk of your foundation or cream highlighters, blushes, go and just save yourself the money. Go to Shoppers Drug Mart, London Drugs. You can go to Rexall, just like the ones in the States, and like CVS and Rite Aid and all of those, you know, basically drugstores, convenient drugstores, and just get yourself a Real Techniques beauty sponge, because it is a much better quality than these. These two I have used twice. I used them both times, fully saturated, wrung out, and it was really like, first of all, if you use this, you know, too fat to get up in there to blend concealer. The bottom, it's not round, it's flat, completely flat. And so when you're putting it on your face, there's so many less air holes in this latex sponge compared to the Beauty Blender that it literally feels like you're smacking your face with like a rubber spatula. There's an actual like bounce to it when you hit your face. And then this small one, of course, which was obviously made for like blending cream contours or, you know, doing your foundation or whatever, it's also, you know, too fat. It doesn't get all up in there. I don't know what to be doing with it, but if I can save somebody from going into the Morphe Canada stores and getting these two sponges for $16.99, I will, because I will not recommend these. And I do believe, I may be wrong, I don't want any hate down below, but Manny MUA, who is one of the Morphe ambassadors, I believe he was using the Morphe sponges, and he was, you know, saying how fantastic they were in comparison to the Beauty Blender, and that you don't have to pay that price. They are not a they are not Beauty Blender compatible, any way, shape, or form. They're a sponge. They get soft when you put water on them. They bounce and they will, you know, put your makeup on. But and did they absorb a lot of my makeup? I don't think so. When, you know, a sponge is saturated, it has less ability obviously to absorb because you've already saturated it, so that's not an issue. I'm not a big fan. I will not be repurchasing these. I will be telling people don't purchase them, because I just think that the Real Techniques, the orange sponges, you can get the dual pack at Walmart here in Canada for $14.99 for the two of them, or just the single ones. Just go and get those if you don't want to pay, you know, the $26 for the Beauty Blender in Canada. But they are not dupes for the Beauty Blender. I am so sorry. Maybe I could put like a little cut, and that could be like our puppet. I could put him over here by my little, you know, diffuser, and he could be like, you know, we could squeeze him and he could talk. I could put eyes on this guy. That would be kind of fun. And then I could take him with me on trips and put him in the plane window like a makeup mascot. I think that's what I'm going to turn this guy into, because the idea, it's not good. You know, it's landfill. And, you know, does latex really break down in, you know, the city garbage? I don't think it breaks down. I don't think it breaks down. I think it probably takes like 50 years for latex to even crumble and turn to dust. Anyways, you guys, that is my little trip. Anyways, I'm going to take this video that's now 23 minutes and 8 seconds long, and I'm going to try edit it down with my Filmora free software. So feel free to comment down below if you're familiar and you also shoot your videos on your Microsoft laptops and you have any tidbits of information for me. Because currently, right now, I just don't feel like doling out the money to buy a brand new Mac, you know, MacBook Pro to get all the software that comes with that, because, you know, it's very pricey, isn't it? So anyway, you can let me know if you prefer this format and the detail, and obviously the increase in the pixelation with the 1080p, as opposed to, I think with my MacBook Pro I was shooting at around 720. So you can let me know about that. But otherwise, you know, as I always say at the end of every video, I hope, as always, that you have an absolutely fabulous week. Take care.